I can stop at any time. This is a statement Dr. Helmut Marko made to the media. Red Bull was a dominant force in 2022, and after the race at Bahrain, it seems though the Milton Keynes-based team is set to make a greater dominance this season. Yet, things are not looking good for the team, and in the garage, the team is about to lose one of its greatest assets. If you started to follow Formula 1 recently, you may not know fully about Helmut Marko. So, let's see who he is before we go through why he is about to leave Red Bull. You may be aware of Red Bull's co-owner, Dietrich Mateschitz. The co-founder of the energy drinks giant died last October at the age of 78 after a long fight with pancreatic cancer. As well as being a marketing phenomenon, Mateschitz held huge passion for motorsport, and his Red Bull brand has, for decades, been involved in the racing world. Red Bull's Formula 1 venture started when Mateschitz bought the Jaguar F1 team and installed Christian Horner as team principal with Adrian Newey as technical director. Mateschitz was the one who set up their B team as well when they purchased Minardi and rebranded it as Scuderia Toro Rosso. But Dietrich Mateschitz did not do all this alone. He had help from one important person, and that is Helmut Marko. Helmut Marko is a divisive figure in Formula 1. He always has been known to sharing thoughts which often create a lot of controversy, sometimes with his own team itself. That's because he never really worked in sync with the Red Bull F1 team. Instead, he only reports to Dietrich Mateschitz, not as an employee, but as a friend. Mateschitz first approached Helmut Marko as a fan at a hill climb, when Marko was still competing. Having idolized Jochen Rindt, Mateschitz was drawn to Marko because the latter had been a close friend of Rindt. Marko's close friendship with Mateschitz meant that he was able to make any decision he wanted to. Marko was always a first act, later explain kind of person. And Dietrich Mateschitz had a lot of trust on Marko's decisions, considering that fact that it was Marko who put up Christian Horner and Dietrich Mateschitz together in the first place. You have seen Max Verstappen dominating Formula 1 in recent times with Red Bull. This would not have happened if it was not for Helmut Marko's decision to get Max Verstappen on board, but also promoting him into Red Bull's senior F1 team mid-season. Marko is also responsible to managing the Red Bull Junior Team program, which has brought Formula 1 with some impressive drivers, such as the likes of Carlos Sainz. With Dietrich Mateschitz being the only person to report to, Helmut Marko made decisions with a lot of freedom. And to say, I don't see any decision made by Marko being wrong till this date. But that does not seem to be the case in the present date. Dietrich Mateschitz' successor seemed to be not giving the same space and freedom to Helmut Marko presumably. Dietrich Mateschitz' role in Red Bull has been split into 3 parts, and Oliver Mintzlaff is now chief executive of corporate projects and investments. Mintzlaff's role encompasses all the firm's media and sporting projects, including the F1 team. According to the news we got, it seems though Mintzlaff does not have much of an interest in motorsport and is reportedly having a very poor relationship with Red Bull's motorsports advisor Helmut Marko. You can definitely see a strained relationship between Mintzlaff and Marko by looking comments made by Helmut Marko published on Red Bull Media House's own Speed Week website last week. Why would the team post comments depicting problems within their own team? I don't know. But they have done it. We've met twice, said Helmut Marko. He was given some insight. How well he'll respond to our ideas remains to be seen. Red Bull Racing has always been very autonomous. It's no longer the case that I call with a report after every practice and race. The direct personal friendly relationship is no longer there. That he was a visionary. He had emotions. I'm not seeing that anymore. I'm a free person. I can stop anytime if I'm no longer enjoying it. We'll see how the future goes. The overall situation appears to be something which bothers Marko. Christian Horner has always had the freedom to run the team how he sees fit, and that has brought them great success. Red Bull might be owned by someone else, but it is definitely Horner's team from our perspective. Mintzlaff is likely looking to create a more rigid operating system in the Formula 1 team, building proper reporting lines and making sure the roles in the team match up with the rest of the brand sports teams. That is how a normal brand and team would work, but it leaves Helmut Marko in a very awkward spot. His role doesn't slot into a standard business model. Marko could carry on running the Red Bull Junior Academy, but by the sounds of things he won't be able to make the decisions affecting the Formula 1 team without the approval from someone above him, probably Mintzlaff. Helmut Marko will be turning 80 this year, and I don't think he likes to be stuck in a box without his freedom to take his own decisions. We all know that Marko is done, meaning he has done what he needs to do in the sport. What he is doing now is for the joy. It's not a responsibility he is bestowed upon, therefore, if he doesn't enjoy it, he will just leave. And sources close to the team expect this to happen this year, with the management structure within the team making a reshape. Sure, Helmut Marko will be missed most. We sure will miss his controversial comments, but more than us, the Red Bull team will miss his presence within the garage. We've been clear on this channel. Teams will at some point this season close the gap to Red Bull. And Aston Martin seems to be the favorite. With both talent from Red Bull and Mercedes working at the Silverstone outfit, and with a very competitive MR23 package at their disposal, that team is the favorite to attack Red Bull at some point this season. Red Bull were limited to 70% wind tunnel due to being Constructors' champions last season. But they were also hit with a penalty for breaching the cost cap. The compound aero testing time Red Bull therefore has is around 63%, whereas Aston Martin have a 100% aerodynamic testing time in the wind tunnel, which is about 50% more wind tunnel time than what Red Bull has. Just imagine, Aston Martin were able to gain 2 seconds over the winter break. With this much more allowance, imagine how much more performance the Silverstone outfit will be able to gain. This has had some head-scratching back at Red Bull. They have made various comments, such as Sergio Perez talking about 3 Red Bulls on the Bahrain podium, and Christian Horner praising the MR23 for resembling last year's championship-winning RB18. Helmut Marko has definitely been looking at Red Bull and Aston Martin prospects, as he said the team has to score as much points as possible to cover any threats by any of the teams below. We prepared ourselves optimally for the season, he said. Once we knew that this penalty would be imposed, it was clear that when we went into the wind tunnel, it had to be done in an efficient manner, and each run with a clear plan. At the moment, we've managed to do all that. But of course, as the season progresses, we run out of wind tunnel time. The others will still have that available, and our lead will then melt away. That's why it's extremely important that we take the points with us now. Martin Brundle of Sky Sports F1 pointed out that Aston Martin could emerge as title contenders during the second half of the season as the aerodynamic testing restrictions take effect. He said, in terms of Aston's prospects going forward, a good car works everywhere and gives the drivers confidence. Ferrari might well be a bit quicker than Aston and Mercedes over 1 lap. But when it comes to the longest stints, there's little in it. It's already a good package. But if they know where to go to improve it, then by mid-season, they could emerge as major challenges to Red Bull. Everyone thinks that Red Bull has this year's championships in the bag after witnessing their dominance in the season's opening Bahrain Grand Prix. But it's just one race, and anything could happen within the next 22. If Aston can just stick to their game plan and get all developments right before the summer break, right before the recalculation of aerodynamic testing allocations, Aston could potentially challenge Red Bull this season. Who knows, with Ferrari and Mercedes hinting at upgrades in the pipeline, even they could be serious contenders. But what do you guys think? Is Helmut Marko leaving Red Bull a big loss to the team? Should the Milton Keynes team focus on the racing this season, more than the organization's structure? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. We'd love to discuss it with you. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads to keep yourselves up to date about the 2023 Formula 1 season.